take 3 or 4 today. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I've started this video so many times, I mean before, but just today when I'm like, this is it, I'm finally ready, this is the time. I've now done my eyebrows, not ever showing that video. I've now did my moisturizer, talked nonsense. I've now done my face makeup, concealer. Nope, that video went nowhere. So we're just gonna start. My name is Jack. I'm 42. I was recently diagnosed with autism and ADHD, because any other girls in the 80s know, we didn't get that. So just got that diagnosis. I also have a plethora of physical disabilities as well as mental health issues. I am on disability. I am a proud fur mom to my 80-pound service dog, Jane. She's a blue-nosed American bully. You will see lots of her at some point. I also have an ESA named Gus, and that's my non-binary cat. That's also another story. Why am I here? Great question. I don't know. Why is anyone anywhere? Why is anyone making YouTube? The reality is I've always wanted to write a book, and I really wanted to write my stories and share my life because it's been a wild one, good and bad. I mean, I've experienced just an unrealistic, unimaginable amount of trauma, from domestic violence to sexual abuse to an active shooter to just all the nonsense. And I've also had a lot of great experiences. I've also had a lot of loss. I've also had a lot of just issues when it comes to being disabled and not having access in public, especially when it comes to my service animals. So there will be a lot about that. I actually want to focus my future on becoming a disability advocate because, yeah, seeing our rights violated makes my blood boil. And yeah, so quick backstory, because this channel is going to be a lot of backstory, but every video will be its own thing. This is just to say hi. I'm going to try and play with my makeup while we do this, but I don't know if I can focus on both. I keep losing my train of thought, so we're going to see how it goes. I had always wanted to write and be a writer, even at a young age. I even won writing contests in school and have a published poem from high school and junior high, something, I don't know. But as I got older, I just, well, let's be real. I started drinking and doing drugs and partying, and then I just became an adult, and then it just kind of went away. I don't even journal, and I don't know why I have that brush in my hand. And then as I became more and more disabled with a variety of issues, I realized it's going to be really hard for me to write. Physically, I can't write. I haven't been able to hold a pen and physically write in years. Within a few words, it's so painful. And then by the end of a paragraph, it's illegible. And I used to be known for my handwriting. I had such beautiful handwriting. Thank God for computers. But with that being said, once I got my brain injury, another video for another day, and then with the holes in my brain, not really, but what I call, thanks to the shock therapy I had, it's just, I can't seem to get it out. I can't seem to get it on paper. As you can see, I'm struggling to even get it out in a video. But I feel like it's what I need. I've done literally every therapy you could imagine. And I still am. And I love my therapist and I love my psychiatrist. And we've all pretty much come to the conclusion that, you can only do so much. You can only heal so much, through certain ways. And so I want to try this way. I process things by talking it out. And not only should no one have to just sit and hear all this shit from me, that's a lot of trauma dumping. But also I don't have anyone. this all kind of started with my divorce and me talking to my Instagram, but then I stopped, and so I just kind of stopped sharing the big things, and I realized so much has happened for everyone, but I as well, in these last several years, that I just kind of want to talk it out, and I want to process it, and I want to hopefully show others, like, even though you can go through some just absolute nonsense, there is still, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because, whoa, asked me a few days ago, would have been a completely different answer, but there's still life on the other side. And that's what these last couple months have shown me. So that's what we will talk about now. I was born and raised just outside Seattle. What's funny is growing up, I always said I was raised in a small town, but it wasn't until I was older and on social media that I realized, oh, never mind. Like, yeah, technically, like, the place where I spent most of my life wasn't even technically a city. When I was living in it as a child, I was there when it became a city, but it has grown so exponentially that, I mean, the population has at least doubled, if not tripled. And everything from my childhood has been torn down, just leveled to make way for the rail station and this and that and the other. And it just got gross. But I still never thought I would leave. Like, yes, I knew I'd leave that city, but I never wanted to leave the Pacific Northwest, never even considered it. And just never thought I would leave Seattle. I've always lived within 20 minutes of Seattle and didn't honestly realize how lucky I was for that. And I wish I had enjoyed it more. But unfortunately, I mean, lots of things happened. I lost my marital home in the divorce. I ended up homeless and in a bad situation, and then back with my mother, who was my first and original abuser. And then with my brother, and then the pandemic, and then I got my own apartment, and then things were what they were there. And then I unfortunately got duped, let's say, and relocated 300 miles away from everything I've ever known and anyone I've ever known at the end of June, because I was asked to by a family member, and only did it because I said, well, at least I won't be alone. I don't want to live there. I don't want to be there. I can't handle the climate. I don't want to be away from the water. I don't want to be away from Mount Rainier. I don't want to be away from the forests, because Eastern Washington is desert land, farms. I literally live on what was an old sand dune. Like, it's just dirt. And I did it because I was like, all right, new chapter in life. We're going to be all about family and support, and we're not going to go into anything, but needless to say, it's not what it was supposed to be. And I am now out here completely alone with no one. And it's been rough. And that happened, I moved here at the end of June. Things were great all summer. And then literally out of nowhere, I still can't tell you what even happened. At the end of September, that relationship was severed suddenly and dramatically for me. And it just so happened, my luck of all things, the same week that happened, my psychiatrist upped my antidepressant. And I normally am very adamant about, I don't want it upped. I like where I'm at. Let's not mess with things. But I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. If I don't like it, I'll go back down. So I went up. And I think the problem wasn't just that I went up. It was that I used to take a dose in the morning and a dose at night. So 20 in the morning, 20 at night. And then that switched in one day to just 60 milligrams at night. And that was a hard switch while going through what I was going through. And so it was I'm really good. Unfortunately, I've been on mental health drugs for the better part of 15 years or longer, and I've tried them all. And so I'm very good at seeing, oh, this isn't the right one. Oh, no, this isn't a good choice. And stopping pretty quickly. But this time, even though I had that feeling, it was hard to say because I was going through so much with family stuff. And so I just kept telling myself, well, it makes sense that you're depressed, and it makes sense that you're just not wanting to function, and it makes sense, you know, that you just feel like scum. But I don't know, more and more time kept going by. I had processed what happened. I had come to terms with what happened. And even with like the sadness of what happened to me, because what happened was wrong, I still couldn't kick that oppressive, depressive, just induced chemical feeling. And so I was like, you know, I really think this is my antidepressant, like playing into this. And it just so happened that I got sick last week and forgot to pick up my antidepressant from the pharmacy. And so I went without one night and then took my old 20 milligram dose in the morning and immediately could tell, oh, this was the issue. The antidepressant was the issue. So I am on day, I don't know, 2 or 3 of being on the proper dose. And it's like night and day. And I say that because, first of all, I am not ashamed of being on mental health medications. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And then also, it's just so important to keep that internal gauge of like, is this helping? Is this hurting? What's outweighing the other? What can I do to improve it? Kind of right before and after the increase, decrease, med change, whatever it may be. And like I said, I'm usually much better at like going immediately within a few days or a day. Nope, don't like this, let's stop. But with everything I was going through, I just couldn't figure it out. And it took me a little too long. I even had a epic nervous breakdown in the middle of all of that. But for like the first time in years, like I'm talking, I haven't had a nervous breakdown. That's not what it's called. What I call them is when I just completely lose it on every level and every system fails me. But I just, yeah, I got scared. I was at a point of like, in the past, anytime I had been like that, I would have like checked myself into the hospital, which I have more times than I could ever begin to count. But that was all during my marriage, only during my marriage. And I don't even know what I'm doing with my makeup. I knew that wasn't an option this time because, like I said, I'm out here in a new place. I don't know anyone. I have a cat. I have a dog. Like, how am I supposed to go anywhere? And so I just had to cope at home. Obviously, if I wasn't okay, I would have gotten more help. But yeah, it was rough, and I'm glad to be through it. Because yeah, it's hard enough having mental health issues. So I have major depressive disorder as well as treatment-resistant depression, and then I've got CPTSD. And then there's a debate as to whether or not I have borderline personality disorder, because borderline personality disorder and CPTSD very much mimic each other. So it's actually nearly impossible to decide if it is indeed, oh my God, I just messed up so bad. If it is CPTSD or borderline. In fact, my former psychiatrist had told me that one of the main ways to tell is if it's the symptoms like permeate your everyday life, it's borderline. If the symptoms only appear in situations that pertain to like your abusive situation, like triggers and stuff, or the actual abuser, then it's CPTSD. But other than that, like they're practically the same freaking disorder in terms of like mood dysregulation and just, the abandonment issues, just everything. The ruminating thoughts. So, I mean, I still did a DBT program for borderline and am fully open to the fact that I might be borderline. I know my mom is. I'm looking for my eyeshadow. But it's also a triggering topic for me, thanks to my ex, because he used mental health against me and to gaslight me and to get our shared psychiatrist in on it. And yeah, you heard that right. And no, that's not legal or medically ethical. So yeah, It's hard enough having all that stuff. But then when your medicine fails you, or you have a bad reaction, you know, it can be really scary. But the most important thing I've learned over the years is just not to give up. And I, again, cannot believe I'm hearing myself say that, but it's true. Like, I mean, in fact, I used to hear that a lot when I was going through my divorce of like, oh, I don't know how you're so strong. I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you do that. And I'm just like, well, I don't know how I don't. Like, can you please tell me? Like, what's my other option? But yeah, I mean, all you can do is keep going or not. And I chose to keep going. Unfortunately, I am now living somewhere I never wanted to live, and I'm alone, and my physical health is declining, and I will eventually lose my mobility. I don't know what I'm doing with this makeup. And so now my focus is me. You know, I'm here now. Can't change that. Can't change anything that's been done to me. Anything I've done or experienced or gone through is in the past. All I can do is now, for the first time in 42 years, figure out what I want. What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What do I want to focus on? What do I think is fun? And so, yeah, that's where we're at. And so in the last year, me and Janie, you know, we took a trip to the rainforest and the ocean. Then we went to the ocean for my birthday. We came over here a couple of times to visit. And then we made the move over the summer. Of course, it's been a lot of sitting around since then because it was 80 degrees until like 2 weeks ago, and now it's 35 degrees. But yeah, we'll adjust. So I guess basically, here's what you can look forward to. A, better videos, because this is a shit show. But also, there will be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Yep, this happens sometimes. Anyways, the videos going forward will be more like specifically to a topic, like, hey, this one's about shock therapy. That's a big one coming up. This one's about my divorce. This one's about some things I experienced with my mother. This one's about cooking. I love to cook. It's the only way I feel confident in life. It's the only way. Yeah, it's my therapy. I love cooking. Not in this kitchen, unfortunately, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I am at an impasse on my makeup. And I also very much want to start chronicling because I have now found a lot of new doctors and specialists and have been setting up appointments. And I will be focusing on my health. For the first time ever, I have been referred to a physical therapist that offers aquatic physical therapy, which is just going to be life-changing because I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobility type. And so basically, amongst other things, my body doesn't produce collagen properly or maintain it. And so my joints are extremely wiggly. What you doing, Jane? I always say that basically I'm like Bambi on ice, you know, like I am wobbly, none of my joints are stable, the slightest little pebble will make me roll my ankle. I constantly have subluxations, dislocations, my kneecaps dislocate when I walk, my shoulders dislocate when I put my arms up. I pulled a rib this weekend just turning my back. My ankles are the biggest issue. My left ankle rolls a lot and it's caused many falls and many injuries. But because of all of that, and then I have POTS, longer I'm on my feet, the more I'm at risk for falling, can't control my temperature, can't control my blood pressure, heart rate, breathing, all of the automatic functions don't work properly, amongst many other issues, as well as fatigue, all of that. And so I've just never been able to be in a proper fitness regimen. I can't do cardio. I can't do standard exercises. And it's just been so hard, mixed with my abdominal surgeries for all my other issues. Yeah. Being in shape and being fit have not been an option, and it's been really upsetting, and I'm excited to finally have the opportunity to like see if I can't make myself start feeling better. And then in the last year, I have been diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, which is an autoimmune form of arthritis that attacks the large joints in the spine. So essentially, my hips, my right hip is the most affected. Hips, neck, spine, shoulders, knees. And the way your body responds to it is by building bone when it shouldn't. And it leads to a condition called bamboo spine, where your spine essentially fuses itself from neck to pelvis by building just a solid, you just end up with one solid vertebrae. And there's nothing they can do to stop it, reverse it, treat it. It is. And my only option is to be on Humira, which I'm on a break from right now, because the first time I took it for my HS, my hidradenitis suppurativa, my first autoimmune diagnosis, another video, I almost died. I went septic and was in the hospital for days, and it was just absolutely terrifying. And so I've had a lot of fear around getting back on it, but I was on it a good chunk of last year that I kept having to stop for various health reasons. And then I've not been on it now because I'm scared. I'm alone, and if anything were to happen to me, I don't have anyone, and my body is extremely sensitive. And with me being immune suppressed, like I said, the first time I started it, I almost died of sepsis. So yeah, it's just something I got to work on, and because I don't want bamboo spine. And unfortunately, my imaging has already shown that it's already started. Like, I've already started growing new bone on my spine. So like I said, I will lose my mobility one day. I just don't know when. And my father has the same disease, and he's in a chair as a result. So yeah, it's hard, but I'm happy that I just found out today that I see my new rheumatologist on December 3rd. I meet my new primary, who is a DO, who is essentially someone who, like, basically a chiropractor from the medical world. And then, yeah, I've got the aquatic physical therapy. I've got occupational therapy for my autism. I've got a lot of stuff lined up, and I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing where it goes and how well it helps, and just kind of documenting the process. I also plan on, I think I said in this version of the video, who knows at this point, I very much eventually want to find a way to be like a disability advocate. And so I'm going to be making a lot of videos in terms of disability rights, disability discrimination, housing laws, just because I have unfortunately had to deal with it so much that I know a lot about it. And those rights are there for a reason. And as much as people might consider us inconvenient and annoying, we exist and we have a right to live. And I'm getting really fed up with society shoving us under the rug because they don't want to look at us. So yeah, there'll be a lot about that. There'll be stuff about my service animal. There'll be fun out and about. There'll be day in the life, week in the life, trying out fun makeup ideas. Just like, yeah, a little bit of everything, to be honest. And I don't want anyone to ever think that like it's going to be upsetting either. Obviously, triggers are triggers. Everyone has their, I'm not yucking your yum. I know it's not the right way to say that, but I will always, and anytime I have a video that's about any one of my traumas, there will be an exhaustive list of trigger warnings. Not to mention, God, that's a beautiful palette. Do you see that? But I'm also never going to go into details to that extent. Like, there's no need. I don't need to re-traumatize myself or anyone else to tell my story. So don't stress about that. Like, if I'm talking about my divorce or whatever it may be. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty. When it comes to my shock therapy, I probably will go into that kind of pretty detailed because, boy, is that a story. And that video will include mention of suicide. So just fair warning. Yeah, I guess I should finish doing my makeup because I don't know what's happening with this. I'm not going to edit this video because I can already tell I have epically, that's not the right brush, I have epically failed at it. And I don't even want to see it. Not too shabby. I don't know why I'm just sitting here not talking. Because I clearly can't do both. And I have learned that now. Whew. That was way too much powder. I'm in such a dark room right now. I have a feeling this makeup looks terrible. A half hour of nonsense. I genuinely don't know if this video will ever see the light of day. I don't judge anyone who thinks this was nonsense and shouldn't be on the internet. Because at this moment, I agree. It can only get better, right? I guess I might as well put some mascara on. I feel like there's this giant thing I wanted to talk about that I just can't think of at the moment. And it's bugging me. Again, just sitting here, not saying anything. I'm so used to my Instagram where I'm like talking to specific people that I know are watching, and I don't know why it feels so different, like posting this for YouTube. I don't know, it's just like a whole new level of vulnerability, but also like my imposter syndrome just won't shut up. Like, who do you think you are? What are you even doing? No one cares. Shut up and sit down. Like, so I'm just gonna have fun. As weird as that is to say about some of the topics we'll be covering. But I always find the humor in things. I always try and flip it and find the positive, to the point that people get mad at me because like I inadvertently end up like playing devil's advocate at times when it's not appropriate. And again, autism. But like, yeah. Sorry for this nonsense. I'm determined to not delete it and start over. I'm determined to post it, even though I have no concept at this point of what I've talked about and what was in what version of like me trying to make this video. So yeah, I guess good luck deciphering the nonsense. Because I don't even know what I've said. We're gonna call it. Bye.